So welcome everyone to the next iteration of the Keptn community meeting. Today we have a lot of people here. Maybe we can start with an introduction for the few names that we don't hear before, like Ayush. Gosh, I think I butchered your name, sorry. Do you want to present yourself?
Yeah, am I audible?
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
I hope we can use this background because we are using so many meetings. So I just make different background for different meetings. Yeah. So
Nice.
my name is Ayush Sharma, and I'm a student from India. Currently pursuing computer science degree in BTech, and I love contributing to open source. I am involved in various communities such as Cube Simplify, We Make Devs, and all. Currently, I'm working as a junior developer evangelist intern at Marico, and yeah, that's all. And really excited to contribute to Keptn as well. This is my first meeting, so I was just about to introduce myself in the chat, but since you called out my name, so I did it here.
Then welcome. So we have also Bhavya here as a new face. Do you want to present yourself, introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. So hey everyone, and I am Bhavya, and I am currently in my third year of college, and I really love contributing to open source and highly involved with communities like Cube Simplify, We Make Devs, and also organized a virtual hackathon as well. And currently I am working as a junior developer evangelist at Marico. So yeah, thanks for this and looking forward to involve with Keptn project and community. So thank you so much.
Welcome and thanks to you. Then also I see Arpan. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Arpan. I'm currently working professional at Amazon. I'm just like trying to explore Kubernetes and contributing in Keptn. That's all.
Welcome. Then Amisha, I think that's the first time I see your name. Do you want to introduce yourself? Maybe some mic problem. Well, okay, then if you can always start to talk when you figure out your connectivity problems. Okay, so oh, I heard something. Okay, so let's start with a meeting. So welcome everyone once again. In the agenda today, we have some news for the Keptn LTS. We are awaiting for a few bug fixes before we do the official release. And this will be some bug fix for the bridge, some for the installation, because we notice a problem when you want to use a prefix path in your URL for the bridge, and something for the lighthouse. As soon as everything has been merged, then we can push the trigger for the next release. For the Lifecycle toolkit, last time I promised that the next release will have its own Helm chart, but as we discovered yesterday in the technical meeting about the refinement of Keptn, Helm charts and operators do not work well together. There are a lot of shortcomings, and we are evaluating how we can solve them in the best way. Heads up or bit of spoiler, most likely we will follow what all the other operators are doing. Release the Helm chart, and then if you want to manage new version of your CRDs, you need to apply them manually. But we're still in the figuring out how we should solve this problem. More details will follow up. And for the next meeting, maybe we can do a show of the metrics and the general metric server of Keptn, and how can you use that in order to scale up your workloads. But here I would like to give then the words to Brad and Thomas for GSOC. I think, Brad, I see you.
Yep. Hey, everybody. I thought I would do the background as well, like the other folks. So updates for GSOC. We had an issue. There's only 2 org admins, and we couldn't I was trying to add Thomas as an admin, but my user, there was a bug with it. So we actually couldn't submit the application. So I'm talking with support at the moment. Thomas is CC'd in. So I will get back to you as soon as possible with that. So I'm going to talk to Stephanie, who runs it, and see if she can manually enter us in. There was some sort of bug that wouldn't let me submit it. So all we have to do is send the links page that we made in the Keptn community repo, and then the number of mentors, and then do 2 checkboxes, and that's it. But we were getting issues. So I'll update the issue, just saying the problems, and then I'll keep everyone updated on that issue when Stephanie gets back to me.
Perfect.
So we have around 3 ideas. I know there's more, but if folks can please add your issues if you have an idea that you want. It's not too late. We can keep adding it, because generally the GSOC people, they will take another 2 weeks to even look at this page anyway. So we still do have time to refine it and make it better, because we want to make it as good as we can to get accepted again. So that's
Okay.
updates.
Then here there are good links if you want to get familiar with the project. We have some tutorials linked here for both Keptn and the Keptn Lifecycle Toolkit. And always reach out over Slack if you need more support or if something is not clear. Then we have some topics. Reorganization of this document. This document is pretty lengthy now. We have 232 pages. Searching into that is pretty hard and cumbersome if you want to see what we discussed in the past. So my suggestion is to now split this document in multiple documents and have 1 per year. And we keep alive only the current year, and the previous years will be stored in our repository. This way are always accessible and you can have a snapshot of them. Any remarks, thumbs up, thumbs down for this idea, or everyone is fine with this? I see some thumbs
So
up.
that's, is that for the documentation?
For this exact document that we are looking, the Keptn community and developer
Okay.
meetings notes.
Yeah, I think it's, we just have to be careful with Google how they index the documents, because sometimes when people search it, the old ones come up before the new ones, if that makes sense.
Guess we can leave this document open and just put in the link to the new ones, and and move over the content basically.
Right.
Yeah. So
might be a silly question, but can we not have these meeting notes live as GitHub issues in the community repo? If everything else is in Git, can we not follow that model?
Well, it doesn't work as well for everybody to be able to edit the same doc, right?
yeah,
Like,
and also to
Yeah.
have a look ahead, because maybe we can put an item for 2 weeks in advance that we know we will discuss in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
With issues, it's not that easy.
yeah. Now we could create issues that are, an issue in the community for the community meetings for 2022, and it could have a link to the Google Doc, if that would help.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I will create then a new document and then link it everywhere.
We also need to revisit some of the stuff that's at the top of this thing. We need links to KLT for starters, along with Keptn.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
point.
Some of that, it's a little,
Check. Okie dokie. Great suggestion, Meg. Then next topic. So now we are working with big features of the KLT, and the question is, should be part of the Keptn enhancement proposal as a tool or not? Because right now we are proposing changes to KLT without going through the normal process of enhancement proposal. And the question to the community is, should we go over this? I would say yes, because it makes things more transparent. We can get more comments and input from the community. But being a sub-project, it's not necessary that we do that. What's your opinion? Now it's a question to the community. What would you like to see?
Actually, would it be, since we have so many new students who are kind of new to this world, explain what the EPs are and what the KEPs are? And
Yes, so
briefly.
KEP is a bit of a ambiguous term, because if you look into Google, most likely we see the Kubernetes enhancement proposal, which is also short as KEP. But we are following the same exact model, where you create a PR, which provides you with a document. And this document proposes some changes in how the project should behave. And the idea is that people can talk and discuss this change, provide feedback, and like here we discuss here that this folder structure is not the best, so we refine it until everyone agrees. Then we can merge this document and then start to really implement this. So this is a way to discuss changes and big feature changes, get as much input as possible to find out the best way how to implement that. And once this is merged, then we can really start to work on the implementation on the project.
Just to clarify here, we had I remember a discussion a while ago that we would move to issues rather than PRs. Is it still PRs, or are issues acceptable?
I would rather, so now or in the past, we did both PR and then the document. I would rather go with a PR, so we then store the result of the discussion as a document inside the repository. So we have Keptn 62 that describes how we should implement a specific part. Because issues, then they will be lost, I would say. And also Kubernetes does that. OpenTelemetry also follows this approach to store everything on a file at the end of the day.
Okay.
Do you have any argument for issues versus PR, or?
And then, well, for implementation, we would end up then creating an issue for the work of that. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I'll be honest, I don't really see the benefit of a full PR. I feel like it's just increasing the barrier to entry. I think fewer people will put their hand up and clone a repo and raise a PR versus an issue. I think an issue is quite easy to do.
I think
yes, Brett.
I was going to say, I think like there's probably a distinction between issue. Kep is probably more like a strategic maintainer or someone that knows it well, like strategy decision over issue, whereas, you know, spelling mistake in repo would obviously be an issue. So it's not saying we have to do a Kep for every single thing, but Kep's more like strategic, like the whole solution of the project or something like an epic level. And then the issue would be the task or the story.
So basically, for those new to the project, probably issues, and then issues would generate keps, but like the discussion on issues would then become keps, maybe.
Yeah.
A problem that I have with issue is if you want to talk about a specific part, it's hard because then you have to quote and then go ahead and forth. Instead on a PR, it's easier because you can add a comment exactly on this specific section of the document and you can contextualize the discussion on that specific element. So it's easier to track these type of things, but no strong opinion. I
There's
see that,
also-
Simon,
there's
you have a
also-
question. Yeah.
No, I do not have a question. There's also one point regarding issue versus PR. You never know when the issue more likely is really 100% done or what is really now the full information. A PR is a document everybody agreed on and it's a fixed state versus an issue where people can start commenting again and then it's suddenly reopened and you are not 100% sure what is the final agreed status upon because it can change with a git commit and a pull request. You more likely have a defined status when it were, and also when it started to the rediscussion. So you have a better basis to agree on, and people are more on the same page rather than with an issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, good point.
I think that was a valid point. Okie dokie. So at the end, I think there was a lot of fine with having KLT as part of the Keptn enhancement proposal. So let's store it as yes, we should have the big changes. Okay, thanks for the input, community. Then I think this item is from you, Simon Peribolos.
Yes. So I took a look at the user management and the things regarding user management and the maintainer file and who is a maintainer and who is a member. And there are some inconsistencies regarding who has access where and in which type of way they have access. Can you open the issue for sharing? I think that would also make it easier a little bit.
Yeah.
So there is a tool called Peribolos, which is used by Kubernetes to manage users with GitOps. And this is more likely in a proposal I want to share with the community to change the way we handle membership based with a GitOps way, let's say that way. So in the end, it's a YAML configuration which will be applied with a GitHub action to handle member assignments on one hand to the organization, and on the other hand, so there is the layer where it comes to the organization as owners and members. And then there is also the level where it comes to repositories, because just because you are sometimes members of the organization who have not whole maintainer status can be maintainer of certain repositories or of certain groups of repositories. And within this proposal, I suggest also, instead of handling like Kubernetes is doing this on a repository basis, to handle this on repository groups. So we are grouping repositories together where it makes sense. For example, everything regarding documentation, like Keptn.github.io, and the tutorials will be a docs group where we assign people to this documentation group. And also for KLT, for Keptn itself, for operational things, for organizational things, and for utils. So this is just a naive proposal from my side. I'm not too deep into the code repositories. And we would then, based on this, generate a configuration where people would be aligned to different organizations. This is exactly this one. This is how the KLT, how the Peribolos configuration would look like when we do not add additional tooling to it. So it's a lot of manual effort saying, hey, maintainers should be maintainer of this and that repository. When you scroll a little bit down, we also see then special groups for special settings for those group, like the KLT or the ops thing, where we have the maintainers and the approvers. And my suggestion in the next phase would be, instead of having this one configuration file where we add the members, we would generate a YAML merger more likely, and we would have our own approach where we would have one directory for the organization, then one directory for each group with an own dedicated YAML file where we just mention the repos, the approvers, and the maintainers. And based on that, we will then generate our configuration. With that, we have an easy way to handle it. We have a GitOps way to assign people to projects. We have some history, who assigned whom to which project as a maintainer, etc., and who is an owner, who is a member of the organization. With a Git history behind that to easier figure out who is why within that group, etc. Now, that would be my proposal to improve the membership organization within the community. I'm just presenting this here. There is this issue, as mentioned, in the community. I'm looking for feedback. Well, I think even deciding upon this within this meeting is maybe too early, because we should give other people the possibility to add their feelings regarding that, or their remarks, etc. So please provide feedback within this issue, and we will revisit this in a week or so and think about it. Maybe there are errors, maybe misconceptions from my side, but well, let's see how this will turn out. No.
Thanks for the idea. I think it's great, because right now I also a bit of problems adding up people to the group when they want to ask for membership. Things are very not transparent to the community, because I have to go to settings, send the invitation, and it's not visible when this person was added or not. It happens behind the scene for the community. And this will make things very transparent. And also we have the possibility to track when people were added to that specific group with that specific permissions. And it's visible to anyone also. I really like this idea. Thank you, Simon. Question or comments from the community?
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I like it as well. I actually added a question there right now.
This one or?
No, you need to refresh. Yeah, the bottom one. Basically, I wanted to know if bot accounts are somehow separately handled, or is it just the same, or is there any special handling?
Yeah, they're the same. Bot accounts are the same. It's just, it depends. This is something where I did not. So there is this beta feature currently from GitHub with the access tokens on an organization level and repository level, which might change things a little bit, but I have no experience with that so far. So no.
And what kind of is it just a token that we use to actually have the GitOps enabled? So what does Peribolos itself use for access permissions?
I'm talking how we use it actually. We use Peribolos also at Dynatrace, and we use a dedicated bot user to add this, who has owner permissions on the repository. So ideally, I think we would use the Keptn bot for that, because the Keptn bot already has a lot of privileges. So no.
Okay. I'm not sure if we don't want to split it. So have
Maybe
one bot for all the management, like permission management actually, and then have the less privileged bot to actually do stuff inside the repos. But that's something for the future, I guess.
I guess one more quick note about this is, if we use this, you would have to use this, like it's one or the other. You couldn't then go and manually update a repo with someone else as well. You'd always have to use the bot instead, because if someone does it in Kubernetes, it screws everything up.
that's all. So the thing is, the bot will override anything which is done manually by a user. So if somebody adds someone, they will be removed in the next run of the automation actually. So no. The only truth, we have one source of truth, and that's the Git repository where the configuration is stored. Is that sufficient answer?
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Is there any other last minute topic from the community?
If we have time, I'd like to, since we got so many new members here, and I know a lot of them have been posting to Slack, ask how do I get started, et cetera, et cetera. And we're not trying to keep up with all of them, but we might open it up for a chance for people to ask questions and get help and this sort of stuff. And then it will be recorded for the next person who comes in. We can tell them to look at this recording, perhaps. Is this you can tell me it's a stupid idea, but.
No, we can support you with how to get started. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, we have the Keptn website. Here there is our documentation. And from here you can read about how Keptn works and all the shenanigans behind this project. We have also the Keptn Lifecycle Toolkit, which is a sub-project of the Keptn organization. So Keptn itself was meant to solve pipeline issues and automation around that. And instead, the Lifecycle Toolkit is a brand new sub-project that we just recently created around the Cubecon North America of last year. So only 4 months old, where we want to support more the cloud native deployment of application. So this is the difference between the two projects, and they have two different repositories also. One is the Keptn repository for the main project, and the other one is the Lifecycle Toolkit for this new sub-project. And yeah, the best way how to start is to read the two individual documentations, see which project do you like the most. At the moment, I think it's pretty clear that we need to improve the documentation part on the Lifecycle Toolkit, because since it's so new, we didn't have the time to build up as much content as we have for the main Keptn project. We have for Keptn also a Killer Coda tutorial, so you can play with Keptn interactively. And for the Lifecycle Toolkit, instead, we have some example here in the main repository that you might want to play with in order to get to know the tool. I see that there are some questions. Ayush, do you have something?
Yeah, so yesterday I was, going through the Killer Coda integration of Keptn, and I was trying to find the correct position in the repo where I can make some improvements in the Killer Coda one, because in the last page when you complete the Killer Coda tutorial for Keptn, there's an bug. So it's in the documentation that the link to the GitHub issues, it's directing you to the home page of the GitHub, but not taking you to the right link where you can create a new issue for the same, right? I was really trying to find the file in the repo, but I couldn't, find it.
Adam, do you remember where does it live? Is it in
Yes,
Sandbox?
it's actually still on Afzal's personal account. We need to move that over pretty quick to one of the Keptn repos. You're absolutely right. So I'm not surprised you couldn't find it. But yeah, if you ping me on Slack after this, I'll show you where you can raise the issue. We're actually going through to upgrade that to version 1.1.0. So it's perfect timing in a way, because we can do all of this up at the same time and make sure everything's kind of tied off. While we're talking about Killer Coda, you'll notice we've only got the Killer Coda for Keptn version 1, or the main Keptn. We don't have a tutorial for the Lifecycle Toolkit, and that is something I'm looking for someone to get involved with and actually create. Now I can help with the Killer Coda side, and obviously the toolkit, but if anyone fancies having a crack at that, then please do get in touch.
I'll surely look into it, and I'll try if I can help with it. Also, I have one more issue, but since someone was saying so, you just continue. If I get time, I'll share it in the last.
Awesome, thanks.
Sadipta, do you want to say something? Because Sadipta has been, Sadipta and 2 other people are working on sort of getting a contributor's guide together. And the first thing is there's a lot of ancillary technologies that you're going to need to be familiar with. to work with this. And do you want to say where you are with that, Sadipta, and where people could see what you've got so far, et cetera?
Yeah, for that, I have created an issue in Keptn Lifecycle Toolkit so that we can aggregate the ancillary technologies and list them down so that any beginner who are trying to start learning Keptn Lifecycle Toolkit or Keptn itself, then they can learn from the reference. And I am awaiting for some comments on that issue. I will mention that shortly in the chat.
Okay,
If you
perfect.
want.
Okay. Giovanni, at 7:33, if that helps.
Yeah.
So let's link it here.
And then does that have that list that you've come up with? No.
I don't understand the question. Sorry, Mac.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sadipta, you have a starter list of a bunch of stuff to teach yourself Kubernetes, and you need Go and a couple of other things.
Yeah. I think that should be a part of a bigger contributor guide. So
right, but if somebody
I am working on.
Yeah, we need it, and that's what I'm saying. If somebody now is trying to do this, can we share that information with them to get them started? What you've got so far?
Yeah, definitely. So for that, I think I should create a README file and add that to the repo.
Well, shouldn't we be starting a PR and start building this up?
Yeah, because I was thinking about another, a different PR for the ancillary technologies, and we already have a PR for contributor guidelines. So I'm a little confused of where the ancillary technologies part should go in that PR, in the contributor guidelines PR.
Okay, yeah, because we don't have a contributor guide set up. Giovanni, guidelines, it's like chicken and, should
I
we
would
set up
suggest
a contributor guide and start adding, or?
Yeah, in contributing, we might add a new entry called technology stack, and then for each technology, the name, and then a link towards documentation for
Okay,
that.
so we want to put that in the contributing MD, you think, and not have a separate contributors guide, or start it here and then eventually move it, or what's our strategy here?
I would suggest to have the technology stack would be kind of a new entry here with a bullet point list, and then each can then redirect to a different file if you want to go more in detail about Go, Kubernetes, or an external resource.
Yeah, understood.
So are you good with doing a PR to put the technology stack into contributing MD? Hugo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you a lot.
And Sadipta is on, since he might be ahead of some of you, he's on Slack too. You can always ping him and ask him directly. Does anybody else have any questions? Are you, have you found your area? Are you busy finding things?
Can I mention one more issue which I faced during the installation?
Sure.
Yeah, so while locally implementing Keptn into my system, it was I was going through the installation doc, and again, if I just copy this and paste it in the chat. So I was installing the Helm charts, and so I'm just a beginner with Helm as well. So if I'm wrong, just make the correction for me. It in all the options, let's say for load balancer, node code, or ingress, it asks you to directly install Helm Keptn repo, right? But it's not installing the Keptn repo. It's going to the next step, which is install. So if you go to the RT hub, where all the charts are being there for the different organizations. So there are two steps. First, you have to set up the repo, and then you have to install it, right? I might be wrong here, but when I ran this helm install command in my terminal, it showed me that you are not initialized with the Keptn repo. Then I went to the RTF, I initialized the Keptn repo, and then ran this command. It was working fine. So if we can make, you can test it. I'm since I'm a beginner with Helm, I might be wrong here, but this was the issue. I think this can be improved if it's generally an issue. Again, I was trying to find this file where to change it, or just trying to see if I can find the same thing in the repo, but I wasn't able to. And then I contacted Brad, but he was busy with things. So now I'll get in touch with Adam as well for the same.
Yeah, you are right, because we're assuming that you already installed it and you have already the repo available. So maybe we can have a prerequisite here before we start with the whole
Maybe
option
we could.
list.
Also, Giovanni, the image at the top is a bit updated because I read a Keptn install command in the orange boxes.
Oh, great point.
This is probably confusing.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is outdated.
Yeah, this is outdated. Nice catch, Anna.
So just an ask, can I raise these two issues which I just mentioned?
Sure.
For more discussion on it.
Sure. That's a great idea. You can raise them inside the keptn.github.io repository, which is our website where we store the documentation.
Giovanni, can you go back to that web page? The docs.
The image or the?
Yeah, right there. Click installation, the top of this section. Over in the left. I'm sorry. And then scroll down. This is a problem with our. There is here the full list of what you need to do to install Keptn in order. And there's a slight, it needs more testing. There may be errors in it, but it sort of tells you what you should do in what order. And
I was following this complete installation process.
Okay. Yes, we would love to have issues and then suggest, feel free to submit PRs that improve things. And small PRs are always appreciated, so you can put one in that, fixes a small thing while you keep going on, and you don't have to do one huge PR that fixes everything. And that would be good work for you to do, actually, much appreciated.
Okay, then from the chat, I see Amisha provided a link towards this ticket. Prerequisite issue. Prerequisite for?
These are dev specs. So what you need to have to set up your dev environment.
Thank you for
Yes.
the context.
Good.
Okie-dokie. Any further items from the community?
No.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I should speak of one more thing.
Yeah,
because
sure.
It's my first time and I'm speaking a lot.
Please go ahead.
Good.
Yeah. So when you go to the installation part and go for the create or bring a Kubernetes cluster, right? Just I wanted to ask you folks that Openshift. Let's say if I'm using Mac, so Openshift is a different operating system to work on, or we can use Openshift on Mac as well. Just wanted to ask because.
Yes, I think Florian from time to time uses Openshift with Keptn, or I know it did that, so it should work out of the box.
That should work, yeah. I mean, it depends if you want to use OpenShift 3.11 or 4.x. So with 4.x, you need to use code-ready containers. So with that, it should work. I've tried it out a couple of months ago. With OpenShift 3.11, you would need to use Minishift. But since that's not supported anymore, I think that might be a little bit complicated to set up.
Yeah, so I was the same day when I was trying to install it, I went to OpenShift, but it didn't work for my system. So I just wanted to suggest if we could do something like this in the create or bring a Kubernetes cluster. There are few options for you to bring in cluster or
I have
different
one
ways
question.
to.
Do you have M1
M1.
laptop?
I have M1 Mac. Yeah.
Then unfortunately we don't support that because of Bitnami. Mongo database, Mongo data store, it's what we use as a database, and it's only available for AMD64 architecture and not ARM.
Yeah, so this can be mentioned in the documentation if it's a good idea, because when I was going through, I faced an issue, and then there was in the small hint written that if you are on macOS, you need to use this. Or let's say for K3s you have to use multipass and all. So maybe a small hint for the folks who are trying to install or the newcomers to But I was able to set up the cluster using, I think, K3D, if I'm not wrong. Did I set up? Yeah, it was K3D. So maybe we can have a separate section for different operating systems. Let's say for Mac we can have this option, and then for Windows, if you are using Windows, we can have these options or something like this. If that's good.
That's a good input. Thank you.
Yeah, at least a mention for M1 Mac would be good. Yeah.
Giovanni, there is also a comment in the chat that the table you showed a second ago went only up to version 19.
Yeah, this is something that I discussed this morning with Meg.
Yeah, I've got to
But-
go look because Giovanni did a rewrite. He actually added more stuff for 1.0, and then I looked and it's not there. So I need to go back to PRs and see if I can find out what happened.
This page is even older.
Yes,
Right.
Yep.
I think
What
we
happened?
broke something up. Oh no, here we push it up. We need to fix that. Oh, many documentation problems here, but these are great, good first issue for the community. So I think you can work on that and provide PRs. We are more than happy to review them and merge them.
I'll get along with Adam and see if more things can be done, right, for creating an issue, and I'll discuss it in the repo as well. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
Yeah.
So now last chance to speak again. Okay, looks like we are out of topics, but if you have any, just ping us over Slack. We're always more than happy to discuss things with you. And don't forget, yeah, Brad?
I was going to say Cubecon in April. Maybe we just want to start a document like we normally do for, maybe you already have one for like the booth and talks and things like that.
I saw that there was already something out there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think there's a PR. Sorry, not a PR. Sorry, an issue. One thing is we're still waiting for the confirmation on the booth. I think today or yesterday we got approval that there will be a Contrib Fest. So basically that means we'll have like a small introduction, and then there will be like kind of this, it's almost like basically 90 minutes of hacking. So whoever's interested, or that's how they described it, whoever's interested can join in, and basically we try to resolve some tasks together. But this will be, let's say, publicly announced in the next few days. And also then the topics and everything else will follow in a few days. For the kiosk, I'm not sure when it will be announced, but as soon as I know something, I'll put it in the agenda.
There was 3 talks accepted this year relating to Keptn as well.
Yeah,
which is pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah, exactly. We have I think we have like some maintainer tracks that got accepted,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Okay, and if you're at Cubecon, just pass by the booth. We can hand out some stickers to you for sure. And don't forget to look into GSOC if you want to apply, how to do that, how to get started. And if you have any projects, propose them. And with that, I think we can close the meeting. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.